In the military, there's a tendency to do what is sometimes referred to as hurry up and wait. When you are down the chain of command, you go when and where you're told. And sometimes that seems to put you into a lot of waiting around because you're where you needed to be, but you're not needed yet. There's obviously a purpose to this, and that purpose is preparedness. All the urgency of getting going is meant to get you ready to go long before you're really going. It's all about the preparation. Advent begins this week, and it is also all about preparation. As we enter this time of preparation for Christmas in both the church and the secular world, it might seem like a time of hurry up and wait. I think this is especially true when we're young. As a child, the time before Christmas can seem to move rather slowly, and it's full of anticipation. But sometimes as adults, I think we lose that sense, and the time goes by far too fast as we don't really feel prepared for the holiday and all its trappings. We focus on what we need to do, and there doesn't always seem to be enough time to get it done. It can become a time of stress as well as anticipation, and we can lose sight of the meaning behind it all. We can become all hurry up and no wait. The word Advent comes from a Latin word that means coming. Obviously, we're preparing for Jesus coming into the world as a baby, in all the vulnerability and humanness that entails. It's his birth we're celebrating on Christmas, after all. But our readings today also speak to the second coming, as our collect for the day reminded us. And in lectionary group, we discussed that there's an underlying theme of peace throughout all the Advent readings this season. In our Old Testament reading, there's an anticipation of God's promise to restore his people to that peace under a good king. Corruption and injustice were a problem in the time of Jeremiah, and the people looked for a return to righteousness. Likewise, our psalm ends with a reminder of one of the ways we enter that sense of peace in verse 9. All the paths of the Lord are love and faithfulness to those who keep his covenant and his testimonies. The psalmist has asked for the divine grace, both going forward in learning to live in God's truth, and looking backward in asking forgiveness for sins of youth and asking to be remembered according to God's love. At a time of year when we're thinking about what presents we might ask for, these are gifts far greater than any temporal gifts. Our New Testament reading addresses relationships, as Paul expresses his appreciation for those in the church he helped establish. Paul isn't there with them, and he wishes he could be. It's a reminder that community means more than proximity. And perhaps as we enter a season of family gatherings, a reminder to seek in prayer that increase of love, not only for those we are immediately connected to, but for all of mankind. I think that's especially timely in that the holidays don't always bring out our hallmark moments in dealing with others. These readings have all been fairly encouraging. A reminder of God's love and promise, something to look forward to in the waiting. But our gospel reading is a bit more ominous, with one commentary describing it as being a time to weather the winter of hardship, not a picturesque Christmas scene by any means. But it is again a reminder of preparation. When we hurry up and wait, we do so from a standpoint of preparedness. But it doesn't mean that there won't be challenges. It means that we will be prepared to weather them. We don't face those challenges alone, but with the knowledge that the peace of God surrounds us and accompanies us. This gospel reading also reminds me a bit of the story in Matthew 25, where some of the bridesmaids come prepared to wait for the arrival of the groom, and the others don't. There's a hurry up and wait there too. They didn't know exactly how long they needed to wait, but only half of them were truly prepared. Another reminder of the importance of preparedness. As we enter Advent, what do we wait for? And are we prepared in that waiting? The gospel reminds us not to be so caught up in the worries, temptations, and distractions of this life that we are ultimately unprepared. We don't need to be fearful in our waiting, but steadfast and patient in our faith. These 4 weeks of Advent give us, if we will make the most of it, an opportunity to hurry up and leave ourselves time to wait. Taking that time might look different for each of us. For one, it might mean spending more time in Scripture. For another, it might be contemplative prayer or following an Advent devotional. However we choose to approach this time of preparation and waiting, we should embrace the gift we're offered, the gift of a time to quiet our hearts and minds and rest in the peace of Christ, who came so long ago and will come again. Amen.